everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kat. So as some of you requested that you are interested in MSL, Medical Science Liaison, as the next job after grad school, today I invited one of my friends, now currently working as a Medical Science Liaison MSL in a big pharmaceutical company. So he will share with us that how he got into this job and what his daily life look like these days. So let's welcome Tony.
Hi, Tony. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks so much for joining us today. How about you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Tony Jiang, and I currently work as a medical science liaison in a company called Bristol Myers Squibb. And specifically, I cover the hematology side of things in the company. So it's very nice to be able to, get on my first YouTube interview today and share something I know about the job and my experience looking for, a job after grad school with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If somebody's looking for a job, the company will post the responsibility of what a MSL does, and what they require the person skill sets and everything. So, but we don't really know what actual an MSL does. So, can you please share with us what's your responsibility in your current job in the hematology section, especially?
Yeah, so MSL is short for medical science liaison, and I would say the key word is really the liaison. And having said that, I think the key role of an MSL is really to be the contact person between the company and external opinion leaders, or some company refer them as thought leaders. So basically, these are your customers, or people who are influential in the field, or people who really wanted to engage with your company. And as an MSL, what you do daily is really to build and maintain that relationship between the company and the thought leader. And what you do is, to contact these thought leaders, and sometimes it's just to be their, point person if they have any specific questions regarding the company's product. And then you just wanted to be there and be that support person. And then on some other occasions, there might be a request from the company, which you might need to, get to the thought leader. So in a word, you're really the conduit between the company and the thought leader. And what you do is to make sure there is a very smooth communication to get things done. So that's my view. And although I have to perhaps put a disclaimer over here, I've only been in MSL for a year, so I'm still, learning quite a lot of stuff. But just in a nutshell, MSL is really communication heavy job, and then you're really that person to make sure everything goes smoothly, and questions get answered, and then that relationship is maintained really well.
I see. So, when you mention you are basically the connection, right, between the key opinion leader and like
Thought leader
thought
or
leaders.
key
Yeah,
opinion leader.
right.
Uh-huh.
So, like, what do you mean by that? Is it like you have to teach them what does this drug do, or certain, or like the patient groups, or like what kind of things are you talking about?
It depends. It really depends on what they want. The things I view it is like it's a customer focused job. It's a very thought leader centric. And then I view my role as a support person. Like, for example, you go to their office, and if the thought leader wants to know a little bit about a clinical trial, then you're really going to be that scientific person who is going to present them with your scientific data, answering any questions they have regarding your therapies or regarding your clinical trials. And then, if a thought leader wants to know, if there is any possibilities or opportunities that they can collaborate with you, you're going to be that person to answer them or provide them with opportunities that they could apply for. Or if you can't answer any of these questions, you really wanted to make sure that you can connect them to the right person within the company. So, that's why I said in the very beginning, you're really that conduit to bridge the external stakeholders versus the company to, support them as best as you could.
I see. So really like the communication is key, between the two parties.
Right. And then, just to your point that what are some of the topics that are usually covered by this communication or these conversations, clinical research is definitely one of the major part. And then perhaps sometimes, they will have questions on, using some of your products or some of your therapies that, either regarding some of the data in your clinical trial or some of the, stuff that's written in your PI package insert. Then you wanted to answer their questions as much as you could. So those also do come up a lot in this conversation. And then it, perhaps it's just like, very scientific conversations regarding a particular disease field, because these people are really the experts in this disease field. And sometimes, the conversations will go to, what do you normally treat in this disease? How do you see this disease field evolve in the future? And then I think it just depends on the type of person or the type of interaction you get. But I think your role is really to be there and keep the conversation going in a reactive way and answer questions reactively, and then maintain that relationship, because it is key to make sure that these clients or customers or key opinion leaders understand how our company are doing and how these therapies are being used. So that's our main job.
Oh, that's very interesting. So, really build the relationship, maintain the relationship, and then just like talk, like keep them as your friends, right?
Yes, in a way, yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So since you talked a little bit about it, but I kind of want to know a little bit more about, what's a typical day look like, as MSL. Do you just have every hour, I would assume, just meeting with those key opinion leaders, or there are other things that you do in your day?
Yeah, so I think, of course, this year and last year, things have changed a lot. And
Right.
most of the times we're just, staying behind a laptop at our desk and do things virtually. And I would imagine things are probably going to be like this for, at least a couple of more months, since not everybody's vaccinated and things are not fully open in the United States. So typically, last year and this year, what a normal day for me is, I get up, open my computer, and then, started to attend all these virtual meetings, right? And then there will be meetings that happen internally, which cover a variety of topics, either, educating people about new clinical trials or new data or new strategies, and you get to see and attend these meetings a lot. And then on the other hand, you get to attend these meetings you schedule with external stakeholders or, these key opinion leaders. And then those topics really vary. But the punchline is you're there to support this relationship, to support any questions they raise and be a resource that, respond to their requests reactively. So that's the role. And in general, you have these virtual meetings running from 7 a.m. in the morning all the way to 5 p.m. because my company is a global company, and sometimes you just get to meet with people in different time zones.
Right.
But there are also sometimes you don't have any meetings in the day. And then it would be a great time for you to catch up with some of your administrative work, for example, or some of the critical learning, if you wanted to deep a little bit deeper in the disease field and catch up with all the competitive landscape, because cancer and a lot of the hematological malignancies, like what I'm doing right now is evolving so fast. So you gotta to really recharge yourself with all these new knowledge from time to time. So I would say, that's my typical day, just attending meetings in my office, meet with people on the cloud. But when things do get back to normal, that will probably change back to our normal work style where we get to meet with people face to face. I honestly don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully soon this year.
Yeah, I actually like since you brought up, because I've heard, right, other people before pandemic they have to fly to the the region that they're in charge of and really go into the doctor's office and talk to them face to face. So do you think maybe the pandemic changed how maybe in the future MSL works? Do you think it's actually more efficient talking to them on Zoom, or do you prefer maybe in person relationship building?
I think it's certainly a good option to have because the more options you have, I think the higher chance that people can make the meetings happen, right? So a lot of the times, I think in the past, if you wanted to catch a 5-hour flight to meet with someone, it's just simply not time efficient in my
Right.
opinion. And then you do see things such as flight delay or weather conditions that just puts a lot of uncertainties to these meetings. And then
Right.
I guess with the option of having a virtual meeting, the risk of having you know unforeseeable conditions is much lower, although we do sometimes see like broken Wi-Fi or poor connection, but
Yeah.
I think at least having a backup option is really, really nice to have. And
Yeah.
that's just from my perspective. And I guess for some doctors too, it's a good option to have because their priority is really to help patients, right? They see patients in their clinic, and I'm sure they're just so busy and so overwhelmed, to take care of their patients, and they just don't have that much time to engage with other, priorities. So, and I guess to some people that virtual meetings can save time because all they need to do is really to open their computer and click their mouse to enter all these different virtual platforms. They don't even have to wear a proper pants, right? They just
Yeah.
they just need to pick up the phone or wear a headset and started talking. So I think to some extent it saves a lot of time and it's more versatile, I think, in some occasions. And, so certainly it has that merit. But, on one side, I think there are a lot of things that I do miss about face-to-face meetings because, you and I are talking right now. Of course, I
Mhm.
can see your facial expression, but I think, we still lack that kind of body language, right? So there is still something missing from this interaction, and I think I would probably want to have that back, if things do get back to normal, and I know that to some people that might not be as important as the core thing you wanted to communicate with others, but for me that's a key component of communication. So I do think that virtual meeting will be important and will be something to keep even after things return back to normal. But I don't think it can replace face-to-face meetings. But it will be a valid option to keep in the back of your pocket, if you can't make face-to-face happen.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Like for example, consulting is the same thing, right? It's client-facing business. We will prefer maybe have an in-person meeting or fly to the client site. You really can tell from their body language if they really appreciate the recommendation that you give, or they might be hesitating, but they don't show on their face or the language, right? So, but you can tell from their body language. So I totally agree with you. But yes, if you can keep the virtual meeting as a backup option, that's definitely great as well. Yeah, awesome. I really like everything so far. So can we maybe shift the gear a little bit? A lot of audience, they might be interested in working as MSL in the future. So if you backtrack a little bit, when you were in grad school, how did you get into the MSL? Did you hear from a colleague or friends, or did you do networking, or can you please share with us?
Yeah, so for my experience, I think it's it was a serendipitous opportunity, and I got to actually hear the MSL line of work from a friend, and I would just share a little bit about my background and how I came across this opportunity. So I actually did my medical education and my medical training back in China before coming to the United States to to pursue a PhD degree in basic research. And then I guess I was always interested in doing clinical work, being close to patients. And then, I always feel the passion to do something that will benefit patients eventually. And I guess at that time, a friend of mine just came to me and told me that perhaps the industry is not a bad choice. And I know a lot of PhDs walking into grad school with a dream of being a scientist. However, industry is also a path, and if you end up in industry, that doesn't mean that you're not doing great work. So that's what my friend told me. And I started to really look into industry and just to see what the opportunities are in the on the industry side of medicine. And then I started looking, and then almost serendipitously, I would say, the MSO job, just came to my mind, and I started to do a little bit networking, and I was fortunate enough to to get a lot of help from quite a lot of people, including the career center at my graduate school, and then from there I got connected to a few more MSLs who already started their work. And then I started to chat with these people, and started to collect a little bit more information about what MSOs do, and what the line of work looks like, and what are your daily job opportunities, stuff like this. And then then I just felt like this is exactly the type of work that I really wanted to do, because first of all, you are doing everything you could to support patients. And that's definitely my passion. And then second of all, you get to stay really close to clinical medicine, because the job requires a deep understanding about clinical medicine. And at the same time, you're also dealing sometimes with a lot of translational work. So it requires a deep understanding of the biology as well. So I think my MD PhD background is, I think, came to use immediately when I look at this job opportunity. And from there, I think I made the decision, I really like this job, and I wanted to do everything I could to get this job opportunity. So I think then I just started to get to know more people, broaden my MSL network, and got to meet more MSLs, and learned and started to learn more about how each individual came to their MSL and learn from them. I think that might be something I wanted to share with your audience, because I think that's critical, because you can learn different perspectives, expectation, and how the MSL line of work evolves, from the past to nowadays. And it's still evolving, and different companies, different therapeutic area. How did you choose between all these different therapeutic areas, and how did you prepare? So I think that experience interacting with other MSLs definitely, benefited me a lot. And from there, I think after making up my mind to go through this career, to finally started applying, and then getting job interviews, and finally landed on a job offer. I think it took me probably like 6 months, a little bit, probably a little bit more than that time to really got to my final success. But that was just my experience, and hopefully be it would be helpful for at least some of you listening right now.
I think these are all great, experience and tips. But I have a question about your networking, right? You said you talk with all these friends, worked at as MSL back then. So how did you, started your networking? Was it online, or did you happen to have those friends just working as MSLs?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think there are different ways to meet with people, and I think for me the basic principle is to be proactive. And I think I was quite proactive, reaching out to people. And there are several places where you can reach out, and one of them is LinkedIn. And then, from LinkedIn, you can, basically search for all the people who are MSLs. And then I think I started from, searching for people who shared some commonalities with me, either graduated from the same school or, perhaps overlapped a little bit in the past. And then that gave you perhaps something you wanted to talk about. And then just be honest, I guess, with your intention. If you wanted to seek help or advice, just be honest with it. I think honesty and proactive are my principles in terms of network. And then in addition to LinkedIn, I think I also ask my MSL friends to connect me to other MSLs. And I think most of us who work in the MSL line of work will be very happy to connect you to the network, because we most of us got the job, and we believe that network is really important, to grow your knowledge, and we'd be more than happy to help other people to do so if they wanted to break into the MSL circle. So be proactive, and ask your friends to connect you to other MSLs. And then perhaps if there are any mentoring programs in your career center, you can also seek help from there. I think I was very fortunate to be mentored by an MSL through the career center, and I got tremendous help from that program. So I would suggest everybody just to not be shy, be proactive, and be honest with your intentions when reaching out to people. And then I'm sure there will be people, myself included, would be very willing to help those who have a very honest and attitude, and who really wanted to learn about this career, and who wanted to come break in the MSO job. So that might be my 2 cents to offer for those who wanted to become an MSL.
Well, I think that's really great advice, from all different angles that you talked about. Because actually, I think last year I also had some thoughts about MSL, and I reached out actually quite a lot of MSLs on LinkedIn. I just LinkedIn them, like literally didn't really know them. And then they were really helpful. I just, right, being honest, saying, I'm really interested in this. Can you please, share with me? Can we jump? Your experience, or just jump into a call for like 15 minutes, right? And then I would say maybe like 80% of them all reply to me and actually have a phone call with me. So I think you people are really great. So yeah, for everyone who's watching, definitely just reach out, be proactive and honest, as Tony said.
So this is the first part of video. Because the interview was quite long, so I separate them into two parts. The part two will come in very soon in next week. So please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any specific questions or comments, please comment below and I will address them as soon as I can. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.